All right, so here is synthetic division, or what we call dividing polynomials. So in the last video, you watched adding, subtracting, and multiplying. So now we're going to talk about synthetic. This is a good little graphic organizer type thing to kind of show you. These are the steps I'm going to go through. So you can always refer to this or look at the work that I do as well. Okay, so we're going to start with this. We're going to use the one that they actually use right here. So we have x cubed minus 2x squared minus 8x minus 35, and we're dividing that by x minus 5. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we are going to look at what are we dividing by. Okay, so x minus 5. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to use the opposite. Okay, since this is a minus 5, I'm going to put a 5 right here. And we put this little 5 like in its own little house. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the coefficients to each of these terms and I'm going to write them out in the line. So since this is just x cubed, there's a 1 in front there, we just don't see it. There's a 1. This is a negative 2, negative 8, and negative 35. I'm going to leave some space and draw a line. All right, so first term always comes straight down every single time. No matter what this is, it comes straight down. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this number out here and we're going to multiply it by this number here, and we're going to put the answer up here. So we go down here, we go this way, and we're going to be multiplying, and then we're going to put the answer right here. So 5 times 1 is 5. Now, every single time we're going to add. That's why I put a plus sign right here. So think of this like an addition problem. We're always going to add these. So negative 2 plus 5 gives me 3. All right, now I'm going to start the pattern all over again. So now I go back to 5 times 3 is 15. Negative 8 plus 15 is going to give me 7. Go back and do it again. 5 times 7 is 35. Negative 35 plus 35 is 0. We always put the last number in a little house as well. I know they don't do it on the graphic organizer, but I always do. So what this is always your remainder. Okay, so because this has a remainder of 0, that means that this divided evenly. So it's like saying 8 divided by 4 equals 2 with nothing left over or no remainder. So same thing here. We're saying all of this divided by x minus 5 equals this with no remainder. So then we need to write our solution. So I'm going to look back at my original problem. I had x to the 3rd power. So that means I'm always going to do 1 less than that power. So I'm doing 1 less than the greatest power. So since that was x to the 3rd, my answer is always going to start with the squared, and this coefficient is going to be 1. Here we have 3, so I had x squared, so now I just have x, and this is positive, so then I just have 7. So my solution is x squared plus 3x plus 7. Okay, let's do a couple of these. All right, so on this, so again, I'm going to take a look. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Make this easier. Okay. All right, so I first look at what I'm dividing by. I'm dividing by a plus 3. So out here in the little house, I'm going to put a negative 3. Remember, always take opposite. Next thing we're going to check is see if I have all of my exponents. I know I didn't do that in the last problem. I got kind of lazy, but I need to look. So I have n to the 3rd, n squared, n, and then just my constant, which means that I have I'm not missing one. I'm not missing like an n squared term or anything like that. I have everything, so that's good. So then I'm going to write down my coefficients. So 7, 29, 23, and negative 12. Leave some space. First one comes down every single time. So now this is kind of like my multiplier each time. So negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. We're going to add these. 29 plus negative 21 is going to give me 8. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. 23 plus negative 24 is negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. If I add these, this equals negative 9. Remember, I put that in its own little box. So this is telling me that this does not divide evenly. I have a remainder. I have some stuff left over. So this would be like me telling you like 15 divided by 4. Okay, so that would be 3, and you'd have 2, remember remainder 2. Remember back in the day when you could write remainder? All right, so this is my remainder here. So my original problem was n to the third, so that means my answer is going to be n squared. This is a positive 8, so I put plus 8n, and then minus 1. Now, to deal with the remainder, so this is a negative, so I'm going to put minus 9 over, and I go back to the original problem, what I divided by my divisor, n plus 3. And that's your solution. That's your answer. All right, let's look at number 2. So on this one, I have b cubed, b squared, b, and just my constant. So we're good there. I have a plus 9, so I'm going to write negative 9 out here. So 9, 71, negative 80, and 85. Leave a space. Bring the first one straight down. Negative 9 times 9 is negative 81. 71 plus negative 81 is going to be negative 10. Negative 9 times negative 10 is going to be positive 90. Negative 80 plus 90 gives me a positive 10. And then negative 9 times 10 is going to give me negative 90. So 85 plus negative 90 is going to give me negative 5. Remember, put that in its own little house at the end. This is going to be your what? That's your remainder. So I go back to my original problem. I started with b to the third, so my answer is going to start with b squared. So 9b squared minus 10b plus 10. My remainder is negative 5. So we're going to then subtract, and then 5 over our original divisor. So b plus 9. If you notice, your answer is always going to be 1 degree less than what you started with every single time. Even if this problem started with 9b to the 5th, my answer will have b to the 4th. So it's always 1 less. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Okay, number 3. All right, so now we have, this is a minus 9. So on the outside, I'm going to put a positive 9. Again, that's where students make the mistake, is they forget to do the opposite there. So pay attention to that. Make sure you're being very cautious of that. All right, so then I have p cubed, p squared, p, and then just my constant. So I have each term. So I'm going to write down my coefficients. This is just a 1, negative 14. Also watch your signs. That's another big area where students can make mistakes. And then negative 26, leave some space, draw a line straight down. My first one always comes straight down every single time. So 9 times 1 is 9. Again, we always add. So negative 14 plus 9 gives me negative 5. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. 48 plus negative 45 is going to be 3. And then 9 times 3 is 27. Negative 26 plus 27 leaves me with 1. Notice all these have remainders, and that's okay. That's okay if they have remainders. Okay, so to write our final answer, since this started with p to the third, our answer is going to start with p squared. So 1p squared, or just p squared, minus 5p, it's a minus because this is negative, plus 3, because that's positive. Now my remainder is positive, so I'm going to write a plus right here, 1 over p minus 9. And that's my solution. All right, number 4. Now, number 4 is a little bit different. And the reason being is because we're actually missing a term here. So we have k cubed, k squared, and then we just have our constant. So what term are we missing? We're missing just the k term. So we have to think in our head that's 0k. Although it looks like okay, but it's 0k. So this is a plus 2, so I'm going to put negative 2 on the outside. Do my coefficients just like I did before. So this is 1, 2. But instead of writing this 2, I got to account for the 0k. So 0 and then 2. All right, leave some space. First one comes straight down. So 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus negative 2, 2 plus negative 2 is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then negative 2 times 0 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. So notice we have a lot of zeros here, and that's okay. That can happen. So this is k to the third, so my answer is going to start with k squared. So this is k squared. I don't have a k term and I don't have a constant, so we don't have to write those. If you feel more comfortable by writing 0k plus 0, you can, but it's not necessary. But I do have a remainder, so I'm going to put plus because this is a positive remainder. 2 over my original divisor, k plus 2. Okay, I know that one looks kind of weird, but you can have instances where you're missing terms and you got to add in a 0, so you've got to be really, really careful about that. And then your answer can kind of look a little funny, but that's the right answer. Okay, so what I would like for you to do is, after you've watched both of these videos, so now you can work on your worksheet. So we have adding and subtracting on this first page, and then on the next page we have multiplying and then some dividing as well. So make sure you go through those. Again, rewind the video, rewatch the video. If you have questions, just contact me and I can help you out with any of that. All right, good job, guys.